Guys, watch your thoughts because they become your destiny. We'll start at the top. Watch your thoughts, for they become your words. Watch your words, for they become your actions. Watch your actions, for they become your habits. Watch your habits, for they become your character, and watch your character, for it becomes your destiny. Guys, prioritize your Bible reading. What if we began to treat our Bibles the way we treat our cell phones? What if we carried it with us everywhere? Turned back to go and get it if we forgot it. Checked our messages throughout the day. Used it in case of emergency. Spent an hour or more each day. Guys, it will change your life. It will change eternity. Amazing quote. Where your fear is, there is your task. Nothing great in your life will happen without a certain amount of fear. If you can do something great, it will look daunting at first. Don't worry, just keep going. Some people's idea of free speech is that they are free to say what they like, but if anyone says anything back, that is an outrage. Winston Churchill. Guys, watch out for people who don't allow you to have, I think, one of your first human rights, to express what you feel, and then they blacken what you say. Obviously, you've got to watch out for shouting and using bad language and exploding, but human beings are allowed to say what they feel and give their viewpoint on things.
How arrogant are you to think that you deserve to go through life with no one ever saying anything that you don't agree with or like? I want people to stop saying that joke's offensive.
Yeah.
I want them to start saying I found it offensive. Because that's all it is. You're just telling me how you feel about it.
Yeah.
There's nothing intrinsically offensive about this joke. It's trying to make I'm offended sound important.
Yeah.
It's no different to saying I've got a pain in my leg.
Yeah.
Right, I believe you.
Yeah.
But there's nothing to do with me. Yeah, but you shouldn't hurt people's feelings. Well, you can if their feelings are wrong.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know,
yeah.
if you don't like the facts, don't change the facts, change the feelings.
Yes.
If liberty means anything at all, and this I also include free speech here, it means the right to tell people what they do not want to hear. Watch out for people who do not like it when you tell them what they don't want to hear. In fact, a judge of a human being is how they behave when they don't hear or get what they want. Everyone behaves very sweetly and nicely when they get what they want. You judge a person when they hear what they don't want to hear and they get what they don't want. If we do not believe in freedom of speech for those we despise, we do not believe in it at all. Guys, you should despise no one. But if you do not believe in freedom of speech for those people who you do not like or whose opinion you don't like, you don't believe it at all. Because you can't just give freedom of speech to all the ideas you like. Look what Voltaire said, I disapprove of what you say, but I will defend to the death your right to say it. This is a human right. Guys, shouting and screaming and swearing is a sign of stupidity. Intelligent person where you can see they have skill and they are articulate with their words. Takes practice and hard work. Invest in this. Read, learn, grow, and also practice debating. This will come over time and you'll improve and your life will drastically improve. Your mindset and attitude is so important. Look at these guys in the jail. They're having a blast there even though in jail. And some people are so wealthy and in such opulence and yet they're unhappy. Look what this girl says here. If you are unhappy or if you feel you want to get friends or new friends, you'll have to do it. You'll have to take action. Even though you're shy, you'll have to get over that. And as you get over that and become more outgoing and go to various places, if you like hiking, the mountain club, the hiking club, the dancing club, swimming, whatever you like, as you become more bold and actually take the first steps, you'll become more and more bold.
That's when you have to realize that it really doesn't matter very much what people think of you. And the fact is that everyone cares what people think about them. That's also human nature. It'd be crazy if you didn't. You should do whatever makes you happy, within reason. And if that means that you're lonely and you want friends, then you have to go places. You have to get back in touch with those people you haven't talked to in months or maybe even years, and you have to tell them that you want to hang out or ask them to tell you about any parties that are happening, and you have to turn yourself from such a reserved creature into a social butterfly. And that is the hardest struggle. But once you get to do it, you realize how much it's worth it meeting new people. Meeting new people is a huge thing in becoming happy. Because if you're currently not surrounded by people that make you happy to be alive, then you really do need to get new friends. So one of the easiest ways to do that is to find out about social events, whatever you have to do, and be confident that you are an interesting person, no matter what you've heard negative people say about you. The fact is that if someone only has negative things to say about you, their opinion honestly doesn't matter, because they were never going to give you a chance in the first place, because every person is responsible for their own happiness. And if you really don't want to be sad anymore, you have to take matters into your own hands. You have to become happy by changing your attitude. And it really is all about attitude.
Work ethic, discipline, learning. Look at that wording. Who you becoming. If nothing changes, nothing changes. One of the most important things in your life to do great work for God. Like David in the desert, he gathered to him men who are of one mind. You will have to be able to identify the right and the wrong kinds of people. Look what this guy says. He wrote a book on, I think, high conflict personalities, like really difficult, nasty people. Guys, you got to be able to identify them and get them out of your life. Listen to what he says, how you identify them.
Interesting is high conflict personalities we've really boiled it down to 4 key characteristics. The first, and maybe the most stunning, is a preoccupation with blaming other people. It's all your fault, and you may have experienced this, and it's not at all my fault. That's 0. My part of the problem is 0. And that's how high conflict people talk. The second is a lot of all or nothing thinking. Of course, it's all your fault, but my way or the highway. So they have this kind of all or nothing perspective. A third is often, but not always, unmanaged emotions. And you may see that. People that just start yelling or just start crying or just storm out of a room, but it's emotions that they're not managing. And the fourth is extremes of behavior. And one thing I talk about in the book, 5 Types of People, is this 90% rule, that 90% of people don't do some of the things that high conflict people do. So if you see some shocking behavior, and then the person makes an excuse for it, that's often the tip of the iceberg. So it's preoccupation with blaming others, all or nothing thinking, unmanaged emotions, and extreme behaviors. That seems to be the pattern for high conflict personalities. People that have those we call high conflict people. But by the way, don't tell them that you think that. That'll blow up in your face. If you're the target of blame, your life may be ruined by one of these folks. And that's what people need to become aware of.
5 types of people who can ruin your life.
First of all, if you see warning signs of this behavior, don't get too close to such a person. You may be a friend, but don't be the closest friend. You may be a coworker, but don't be the closest coworker. Because what seems to happen is the people they get really close to are the ones that are most at risk of becoming their targets of blame. Now, the way to avoid becoming a target of blame, not getting too close to them, but also not engaging in conflict with them. They often invite conflict, like they'll say outrageous things, and you may feel like you've got to persuade them that they're wrong, and that's what I call a forget about it. Just forget about it. You're not going to change their mind. If they're a difficult person, high conflict person, this is who they are, and you may not really even exist for them. So if you argue with them, they're not going to change. So save yourself the trouble. But when people challenge them is often when they turn against you and they see you in their all or nothing eyes as all bad. So if you're in a personal relationship, family relationship, neighbor, coworker, etc., you can manage relationships with these folks, but usually at an arm's length, and don't make it too confrontational. Don't argue with them, try to convince them. Don't try to give them insight into themselves. You can just say, oh, well, that's interesting. Hey, I've got to go now.
Another interesting diagram here. I mean, your success is made up of failures and successes. You learn maybe even more from failures than successes. So the wall of success, or whatever you visualize success is made up of failures and successes, and so you learn and grow. Insightful diagram here. I think if you focus on just trying to be 1% better each day, look, after a year you are like 31 times the person you are. And if you're becoming 1% worse each day, look at this. You are 0.03% of who you were. Pretty scary.
Do you know that your future is after 5 p.m.? Please listen to me before I go. See, you don't understand. You build your life after you go home. Because from 9 to 5, you don't own your life. Think for a minute. You got a 9 to 5 job, that means you cannot grow between 9 and 5. You can't work on your future between 9 and 5. You're building someone else's. You got to work after 5. After 5 o'clock, start thinking, dreaming, working, developing. Why? He says, in the evening, let not your hands be idle. Now he tells you why. Because you know not which one will succeed. Now the folks who were just laid off this week from the hotel, if they only had the morning seed, they're in trouble. I'm talking to some of you. You need to go home and start working after 5. Life begins after 5 p.m. Your life. 4 a.m. is easy for me to go to work. Most successful people build their lives while you are sleeping. Sow your seed in the morning. And in the evening, let not your hands be idle. You see those books that Dr. Richard wrote? He didn't write them between 9 and 5. He probably up late in the night working on, all Pastor Dave, working hard to produce a global book, man, with research. You can't go to bed 9 o'clock. Sow your seed in the morning, and after 5, start working, he says. Both may succeed, you know. You don't know which one. Where you going? Home. That's about it, just home. We're so busy going home, we don't go to our destiny. Be a different person. Don't be a normal person, please. Let today be the last day you allow TV to destroy your life.